In recent years, an obsession of rare plant collecting has reached a historic high. So high, in fact, that countless species of rare aroids, many endemic to narrow and isolated regions, are being poached in large numbers. Once abundant localities of some of the most popular collector houseplants on the market have been stripped from their natural habitat. Some isolated localities, however, still thrive, tucked away under the protected land of indigenous people. One of these coveted plants is Anthurium Kunayalense. There is just something endearing about this plant. With its round, pillowy, heart-shaped leaves on short petioles, red venation and iridescent colors add whimsy and character to its foliage. Notoriously difficult to grow in a greenhouse, let alone as a houseplant, this Anthurium commonly holds 1 or 2 leaves at a time for most collectors. But not in the wild. Oh no, these plants are big and beautiful in nature. Anthurium Kunayalense was formally declared its own species in 2010 when a publication from the Missouri Botanical Gardens made a distinction between Kunayalense and another popular aroid, Dressleri. When this plant was discovered and collected from the wild in 2007, it was initially thought to be a new ecotype of Dressleri. This tropical plant is a terrestrial species, meaning it primarily grows on the forest floor. According to observations, it seems to favor rocky outcrops or well-drained slopes. They take root into the upper leaf litter that covers the nutrient-poor clay soil of the New World tropics. These ecosystems are shady, warm, humid, and still. Occurring as isolates or in small groups, Kunayalense is an unobtrusive local. The foliage of this species has been difficult to characterize since it varies between localities. Generally, its micropapillate leaf surface gives the plant its matte to slight velvet texture. The leaves are quilted and bellate, meaning bumpy, to allow for more efficient shedding of rainwater in these humid, pathogen-rich environments. Many anthuriums are pollinated by Euglossa, also known as orchid bees. These insects of the American tropics flaunt bright, metallic blue and green bodies. Euglossa are known to respond to specific chemical cues emitted by the plants they pollinate. Once the plant bears fruit, non-migratory birds will disperse the seeds along narrow regions or sparsely throughout wider ranges over time. This is why many anthuriums are endemic to specific areas. The reason some anthuriums of the same species can vary in appearance is due to allopatric separation. This means that populations of the same species that do not overlap can develop distinct differences in appearance due to separate gene pools. Vegetational mapping shows a great deal of inaccessible, undisturbed primary rainforest throughout this species' known range, suggesting its future in the wild is secure. Some wild specimens have even been estimated to be over 50 years old. Anthurium Kunayalense was named after the indigenous reservation it inhabits, known at the time as Kuna Yala, which translates to land of the Kuna. The Latin suffix ense means originating in. The Guna people have deep roots in Panama and Colombia, which seems even more fitting since Kunayalense ranges from central Panama to northwestern Colombia. The word Kuna for their people and language had its spelling changed from a K to a G just after the species' publication to more accurately represent its pronunciation in the Guna language. There are 3 Guna autonomous districts, or comarcas, though most Guna live on the San Blas Islands, an archipelago just off the coast of Comarca de Yala. 400 years ago, the Guna people left the mountains of northern Colombia when they were driven out by the advancing conquistadors. They traveled to the Caribbean coast of present-day Panama and sought refuge on a string of islands. Hundreds of islands. Today, 50,000 Guna people live in this secluded paradise, untouched by modern influences such as electricity or internet. Having maintained their unique language and traditions, they are one of the most hidden and fascinating cultures we know today. The Guna sail between islands on narrow boats using long ulus, a real exercise in balance and coordination. These land dwellers were forced to turn to the sea to safeguard their way of life and culture. But now, they call the sea their grandmother. They share their catch of the day with the entire community. According to them, nobody owns the sea. She is the wealth of all the Gunas, and the nature around us is part of us. Every day, men, women, and children return to the mainland to draw fresh water, grow fruits and vegetables, and hunt. Contrasting the roar of the sea, the mainland is much quieter, and everything is still. They enter the endless rainforest, one of the world's last frontiers. The Guna call it the Bunagana, the spirit sanctuary. Before entering the forest, the Guna use certain plants they believe protect them from evil spirits. The modern world could learn a thing or two about sustainable farming from the Guna. Plots are cultivated, then left fallow according to a set of specific rules which allow the forest to regenerate on its own. But agriculture has changed. Now, it rains in the dry season, and the dry season lasts too long. Many islands of San Blas barely break the surface of the sea. To protect themselves, the islanders plant trees to prevent erosion. The ocean levels are rising, and the Guna's islands are disappearing. Indigenous people who contribute the least to climate change are the ones who suffer the most. It's easy to forget about the existence of the humble. As humanity progresses further into the 21st century, we must never forget our roots. One way of doing that is by protecting what connects us to our past. Did you know about 1/4 of the land on Earth is occupied by some 400 million indigenous? And these territories contain 80% of the world's biodiversity. Conservation of plants is a noble effort, but securing the future of indigenous cultures is invaluable. So if you have a Kunayalense, or ever buy one, remember what that name means. Originating in Yala, land of the Guna. If you enjoyed this video, please interact with it. Leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you really liked this video, maybe share it with your friends on social media. And if you enjoy my other videos as well, please subscribe. This has been Jake, also known as Plantgate for Life.